Chapter 2, Basic Merchandising Mathematics, Part 2. The last time you learned decimals and how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide the decimals. And also you learn how to round these numbers with the decimal. And today in Chapter 2, Part 2, you will learn the unit measure and basic percentage calculation, as well as how to calculate the fractions. So let's go ahead and start from the unit measure. A unit measure is used in buying certain categories of merchandise, such as toiletries, cosmetics, underwear, and glassware. And items are often sold in dozens or fractions of a dozen. So it is really important to understand this unit measure concept and how to calculate this in retailing and merchandising. So here are some common unit measures used in buying. 2 units. Do you know what that is called? That is 1 pair. Maybe you heard about 1 pair of jeans because it has 2 parts for the leg, 1 and 2 legs, so it's called as a 1 pair. So if you hear something like 1 pair of something, that means that 2 units of certain item. And how about 12 units? It is called as 1 dozen. So if you hear something like 1 dozen of belts, that means that 12 of belts. And how about the 144 units? Also, you can call this as a terms of dozen, or you can call it as something else. So 144, if you calculate it based on the dozen, it's gonna be 144 divided by 12. That's gonna be 12 dozen. Or you can also call that as 1 gross. So these are some common unit measures that's gonna be used in buying. You also have to understand this to calculate your purchasing in retailing and merchandising. And let's go ahead and look at this example 2.7. So you have to know how to calculate the fraction of this dozen. So 12 is what unit measure? Yes, that is 1 dozen. So if somebody say 2/3 of 1 dozen, you can calculate it like this example. So if you see 2/3 of 1 dozen, that means that 2/3 multiplied with 12. And if you calculate this, it can be also write as 2/3 multiplied with 12 over 1. And when you calculate this, you're gonna multiply your numerator together, and you will get this 24 as a new numerator, and you will multiply this denominator together, which is 3 and 1, and you will get 3 as a denominator. So now you have a new number, 24 over 3. So that is 8. So that means that 2/3 of 1 dozen is gonna be 8 units. And let's look at the different example. If somebody said 3 and 5 over 6 of 1 dozen, then you have to calculate it differently. So that means that 3 is equal to, if you wanna change that number with the 6 as a denominator, it's gonna be 18 to 6. So let's look at this. 3 and 5 over 6. Your number 3, is gonna be same as 18 over 6. And you will plus 5 over 6, which is gonna be 18 plus 5 divided by 6 multiply with 12. So that is also same as 23 over 6 multiply with 12 over 1. And you'll get the new number as 276 divided by 6. And if you divide the 276 with the 6, you will get 46. So when you have this whole number and the fraction, you have to calculate this. You have to recalculate this number and you have to get the final answer. So that means that if somebody said 3 and 5 to 6 of 1 dozen, that means that 46. Okay, another example, if you have 1 and 3 to 4 of 1 dozen, that means that you have 1 dozen and another 3 to 4 of a dozen. So what you can do, you recalculate this number, the first number. So 1 is equal to 4 over 4, right? So 4 plus 3 divided by 4 multiplied with the 12 over 1, then that is 7 over 4 multiplied with 12 over 1. So you will get 84 over 4, and the last answer is gonna be 21. So if somebody say 1 and 3 to 4 of a dozen, that means 21 units. So now you know how to calculate this, or the other way that you can calculate. Let's look at this, last example. So what you can do, this one, it says 1 and 3 over 4 of the dozen. Then what you can do, you can calculate that 1 dozen plus 3 to 4 of 1 dozen. So what you can do, 12 plus 3 to 4 of 1 dozen. Then you will get the same answer as a 21, because 3 to 4 of 3/4 of 1 dozen is gonna be 9. So 12 plus 9 is gonna be 21. So either way is fine, but I just wanted to show you how to calculate this number. So when you have a whole number, you have to be able to change this number to calculate that number correctly. And let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about the percent. And these are mostly commonly used mathematical concept in merchandising, and also you will see these percents a lot in lots of buying concept and also lots of statements that we are going to talk in this class. You will see these percents a lot. And many merchandising calculations are expressed in both percent and dollar amounts. And you will see more and more of these as we go to the later chapter with more advanced the content. And percents are often more meaningful than dollar amounts because they can be compared, so you can say 20% compared to 30%. So you will see that how this is gonna be really meaningful in buying and retail math. And percents are used to answer some of the following questions. So let's look at some questions how you can use this percent. So first question, what is the markdown percent on merchandise? So you have to calculate the percentage here. And what is the percent gains or loss in sales over last year? What is the ratio percent of an individual unit sales to a total company sale? So you can calculate the percentage of these specific unit sales compared to the overall sales. And what percent profit did the department or a firm achieve? So you can say 2% increase, 5% increase. You can use this percent to express that. And what percent of sales was spent on advertising and promotion? And that's also one of the example. Maybe you have a specific percent of amount that you want to spend on advertising, and you can calculate that based on the overall sales. And what is the company's share of the market? Also, you can use the percentage at this point when you express this company's share of the market. So now you know that percents are really used a lot in retail mass, and buying. And let's look at the example. So just imagine if you receive a shipment of 80 blouses and sold 60 at full price, the relationship would be 60 to 80. So that means that you sold 60 blouses out of 80 blouses. And at this time, you can also calculate the percentage of the sales. So the percent of the blouses sold at full price would be determined by dividing the total into the number sold. So what you're gonna do, you have to divide. So 60 out of 80. That time you're gonna put 60 to the top and 80 as a total number at the bottom. So you can calculate how much percentage of the products were sold. So 60 divided by 8, that is gonna be 0.75. And when you calculate that as a percentage, you know that you have to multiply with the 100. So that means that 75% of the blouse were sold. So once again, you put that as total blouses at the bottom and how many were sold at the top. So another example, if you sold out the blouses, that means that 80 over 80. So that means that you have 100% sales. And you also have to know about this basic percentage calculation, percent to a fraction and percent to a decimal. So you have to be able to convert this number in the different format. So to convert the percent to a fraction, you have to drop the percent sign and divide by 100. And here is the example. If you have this 20%, then you can convert that to the fraction. It's 20 divided by 100. And that will be 1 over 5, and that is 0.2. And percent to a decimal, to convert a percent to a decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. This, as I just mentioned, what you're gonna do, you're gonna move these 2, so divide it by 100, pretty much. So 5 divided by 100 is gonna be 0.05. And vice versa. If you want to change this 0.05 to the percent, you will multiply 100. So you need to be able to change this number with the different formats such as percent to a fraction and percent to a decimal. And there's a decimal to a percent and fraction to a percent. And let's look at this. So to convert the decimal to a percent, move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. And here's the example. So if you see this number with the 0.75, what's gonna be the percentage of this? Yes, you're gonna move this decimal point to 2 places to the right, and simply you multiply with the 100. That is 75%. How about the fraction to a percent? To convert the fraction to a percent, you will change the fraction to a decimal and then convert to a percent. So if you see this 1 over 4, and what you're gonna do, that means that 1 divided by 4. If you do that, you will get the number 0.25, and that is, you have to multiply with the what? 100. Yes, there you go. So there it will be 25%. Okay, so today you learned about the unit measure and basic percentage calculation and how to calculate and how to convert the number with the different format. And we'll continue to talk about using the percent the next time, and hope you can practice more by the practice problem in the book. And I will see you the next time.